Before Egypt built a single pyramid, before Rome was even a mud village, before Greece had a single philosopher, there was a place where humanity figured out how to be human. And what AI just reconstructed? It looks nothing like the textbooks told you. Most people picture Mesopotamia as brown ruins, dusty clay tablets, and old men with beards scratching symbols into mud. Let me tell you, that's like calling New York a few buildings next to a river. I spent weeks feeding excavation data, ancient texts, and satellite imagery into AI, and what came back is a world so vivid, so advanced, so alive, it honestly made me angry at how badly history class failed us. Mesopotamia, Greek for between rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. Today, most of it is Iraq, desert, dust, war zones. But 6,000 years ago, this was the most valuable real estate on planet Earth. The Fertile Crescent, a lush green floodplain stretching from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean. The soil was so rich, so dark, that early farmers didn't even need plows. They just threw seeds into the mud after the floods receded and watched food explode out of the ground. But there was a catch. A terrifying one. The Egyptians had the Nile. Predictable, gentle, life-giving. The Mesopotamians had two rivers that were absolutely psychotic. The Tigris flooded violently, without warning, destroying entire villages overnight. The Euphrates was calmer, but unreliable. One year it barely rose. The next it drowned everything. Survival here wasn't a gift. It was an equation that had to be solved. And the solution they invented? It changed every human life that followed, including yours. The Sumerians, 4,500 BC. While most of humanity was still chasing goats with sharpened sticks, the Sumerians built cities, real cities. Uruk, 50,000 people behind massive defensive walls. London wouldn't reach that size for another 4,000 years, but the cities aren't what made them special, not even close. You're looking at the reason you could understand these words right now. A wet piece of clay, a reed stylus, and the first person in history who looked at a sound coming out of someone's mouth and thought, what if I could trap that forever? Cuneiform, the world's first writing. And the Sumerians didn't just write hymns and king lists, they wrote everything. We have a 3,800-year-old tablet from a guy named Nani, and Nani is absolutely furious. He bought copper from a merchant named Ea Nasir, and the quality was garbage, so he filed a complaint. In writing, the oldest Yelp review in human history, and people haven't changed one bit. But writing was just the warm-up act, the wheel, the 60-minute hour, the 360-degree circle, the 12-month calendar, the plow, the sailboat, mathematics, astronomy, the first schools, the first legal system, the first doctors who stopped blaming demons for everything and started looking for actual causes. One civilization, one stretch of mud between two rivers. And they basically invented civilization as we know it. At the center of every Sumerian city stood a structure that should not have been possible. A ziggurat, a man-made mountain of millions of baked bricks, sometimes 7 stories high, with a temple burning at the top, a bridge between earth and heaven. We all imagine ziggurats as these sad gray ruins, sand-colored, dead, empty. They were not gray, they were blue, gold, red. The lower levels were covered in blue glazed bricks. The temple at the summit was sheathed in actual gold leaf. On a clear day, sunlight hit that temple and the entire structure glowed, visible from miles away. Picture yourself as a farmer in the desert. You've never seen anything taller than a palm tree, and on the horizon, a mountain of fire and gold reaching into the clouds where a god allegedly lives. The Mesopotamians didn't just believe their gods were real, they believed their gods physically lived in those temples. Every morning, priests woke the statue, washed it, dressed it, fed it, sang to it. The god was a resident, a neighbor, a terrifying one. For 1,500 years, Sumerian city-states fought each other like petty gang lords, endless wars over irrigation canals and stolen cattle. Then one man looked at the chaos and saw something nobody else could see. His name was Sargon of Akkad, and his origin story sounds fake, but it's carved into stone. Sargon was a nobody. According to his own legend, his mother abandoned him as a baby, set him floating down the Euphrates in a reed basket. Sound familiar? And a gardener found him. He rose from laborer to cupbearer to general, and then he did something no human being had ever done before. He conquered every city in Mesopotamia, and then he kept going. The Akkadian Empire, the world's first multi-ethnic empire, stretched from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean. He ruled for 56 years, and he created something entirely new, the idea that one person could rule over different peoples, speaking different languages, under one system of government. Every empire that came after, Rome, Persia, Britain, is just Sargon's idea, scaled up, but empires have an expiration date. After Sargon's death, it collapsed within 100 years. Climate change, a drought that lasted 3 centuries, destroyed the farmland that fed the empire. No grain, no army, no empire. Climate ended the first empire. Not war, not invasion, drought. And that should sound familiar. Then came Babylon, and everything you think you know about it is wrong. Under Hammurabi, Babylon became the center of the known world, and Hammurabi did something radical. He wrote down every law in the kingdom, 282 of them, and carved them into an 8-foot-tall black stone pillar. Then he put that pillar in the town square. The Code of Hammurabi, an eye for an eye. That's him. But the code also included minimum wage, consumer protection, medical malpractice penalties, divorce rights for women who could prove abuse or neglect. This is 1750 BC. 3,700 years ago, a king in Babylon gave women more legal rights than some countries do today. But Babylon's most famous landmark? The Hanging Gardens, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Lush green terraces cascading down a massive stone structure, a jungle in the desert. Except, archaeologists have never found a single shred of evidence that the Hanging Gardens existed in Babylon. Not one brick, not one inscription, nothing. The latest theory? They were in Nineveh, built by the Assyrian king Sennacherib, not Nebuchadnezzar. But the story got told and retold, and each time it drifted further from the truth. The ancient world was just as good at misinformation as we are. Here's why this matters. Everything you do, every single day, is built on Mesopotamian ideas. The 60 seconds in your minute, the 60 minutes in your hour, the 7-day week, the concept that laws should be written, not whispered, the idea that a ruler answers to something higher than himself, urban plumbing, public libraries, schools, science, the radical notion that the stars are predictable, not angry gods. Mesopotamia was humanity's first laboratory. Some experiments worked brilliantly. Some collapsed catastrophically. Drought, overfarming, deforestation, endless war. Sound familiar? They were us, and we are them, just with better technology and the same blind spots. If you haven't seen what AI revealed about ancient Rome and ancient Egypt, those videos are on this channel. Subscribe, hit the bell. The past is not what you were told.